morning students. Today's topic is pyruvate dehydrogenate complex. Pyruvate dehydrogenase complex is a very important complex that usually links glycolysis to citric acid cycle. We all know that in glycolysis glucose is converted to pyruvate, and now this pyruvate has two fates. In an anaerobic condition, pyruvate may be converted to lactate or ethanol, and under aerobic condition this pyruvate is carried to mitochondria from cytosol via carrier protein, and after that this pyruvate goes oxidative decarboxylation in presence of pyruvate dehydrogenase complex to form acetyl CoA. Now pyruvate dehydrogenase complex is a large highly integrated complex. Molecular mass is almost 4 million to 10 million kilodalton. It consists of 3 enzymes and 5 coenzymes. The 3 different enzymes are: one is pyruvate dehydrogenase, another one is dihydrolipoyl transacetylase, and next one is dihydrolipoyl dehydrogenase. Pyruvate dehydrogenase component is denoted as E1. It consists of 24 chain and its prosthetic group is thiamine pyrophosphate. Its function is oxidative decarboxylation of pyruvate. Next is dihydrolipoyl transacetylase. It is denoted as E2. It consists of 24 chains. Its prosthetic group is lipoamide. Its function is to transfer acetyl group to coenzyme A. Next one is dihydrolipoyl dehydrogenase. It is denoted as E3. It consists of 12 chain and its prosthetic group is FAD, that is flavin adenine dinucleotide, and its function is to regenerate oxidized form of lipoamide. Now what are the cofactors? Cofactors we can divide it into two parts. One is catalytic cofactors. These are thiamine pyrophosphate, lipoic acid and FAD. Another one is stoichiometric cofactors. What does it mean? It is that these cofactors actually function as substrate of this enzyme complex. One is coenzyme A and another one is NAD+. Now conversion of pyruvate to acetyl CoA consists of 3 steps. One is decarboxylation, followed by oxidation, and last one is transfer of resultant acetyl group to coenzyme A. Last of all, there is regeneration of active enzyme. Why this step is important? Because if there is no regeneration of this active enzyme, further conversion of acetyl pyruvate to acetyl CoA will not occur. Now one by one we will come to the steps of pyruvate dehydrogenate complex. First one is decarboxylation. Here pyruvate combines with thiamine pyrophosphate and it is then decarboxylated to form hydroxyethyl thiamine pyrophosphate. It is the rate limiting step of this enzyme reaction. It is catalyzed by pyruvate dehydrogenase component of this complex, and as I have already mentioned, thiamine pyrophosphate is the prosthetic group. Here what happens? Here carboanion group of thiamine pyrophosphate reacts with pyruvate to form this hydroxyethyl thiamine pyrophosphate. Now second step is oxidation. What happens in these steps? Here hydroxyethyl group that is attached to thiamine pyrophosphate is oxidized to form an acetyl group, and it is simultaneously transferred to lipoamide, and there is finally formation of acetyl lipoamide. Now what is the property of this lipoamide? Lipoamide is a derivative of lipo acid or lipoic acid rather. It is linked to a side chain of lysine residue by amide linkage, resulting in formation of an energy-rich thioester bond. Now, oxidant in this reaction is this disulfide group, that is marked by blue color in the picture reaction. Now, this reaction is also catalyzed by pyruvate dehydrogenate component, and finally acetyl lipoamide is formed. Now, next step is formation of acetyl-CoA. Acetyl group is first transferred from acetyl lipoamide to coenzyme A to form acetyl-CoA. Here coenzyme A is acting as a substrate, that's why it is called stoichiometric cofactor, as this is functioning as substrate. And here the enzyme is E2, that is dihydrolipoyl transacetylase, and energy rich thioester bond is preserved as this acetyl group is transferred to coenzyme A, and there is formation of dihydrolipoamide. Now this dihydrolipoamide should be regenerated or converted to oxidized lipoamide so that again pyruvate dehydrogenase complex can function. And in this fourth step, this oxidized form of lipoamide is regenerated by dihydrolipoyl dehydrogenase. Here 2 electrons are first transferred from this dihydrolipoyl lipoamide to FAD, and finally the FAD transfer those 2 electrons to NAD plus to form FAD and NADH plus H plus. Here we should remember that usual function of FAD is not to donate electron, it is rather accept, its common function is to accept electron from NAD, but here electron transfer potential is facilitated by the chemical environment of this enzyme, so it helps to transfer these electrons to NAD. Now finally we should know that how this PDH complex or pyruvate dehydrogenase complex is regulated. Pyruvate dehydrogenase complex can be regulated allosterically or by phosphorylation. What does it means by allosteric regulation? Actually, substrate that are formed in this enzyme complex can regulate, inhibit or stimulate the enzyme. More and more acetyl-CoA is formed, more and more it will inhibit the this enzyme, because this formation of acetyl-CoA from pyruvate is irreversible, and so oxidation to carbon dioxide by TCA cycle to it can form energy or it can form lipid. Now high concentration of these reaction products can inhibit the reaction, as here acetyl-CoA inhibits the transacetylase component by binding directly, and NADH also inhibits dihydrolipoyl dehydrogenase. So there is no further generation of acetyl-CoA from pyruvate. Next one is regulation by reversible phosphorylation. How phosphorylation can regulate this enzyme? Phosphorylation of pyruvate dehydrogenase component by pyruvate dehydrogenase kinase inhibits this PDH complex. How this happens? When body is at rest, there is increased NADH, increased acetyl-CoA and increased ATP in our body. That means NADH to NAD plus ratio is more, than 1, acetyl CoA to CoA ratio is also more than 1, and ATP to ADP ratio is also high. This high ratio promotes phosphorylation of pyruvate dehydrogenase by this pyruvate dehydrogenase trinase enzyme and resulting in inactivation. In other words, or in simple words, we can say that high concentration of immediate and ultimate products of this enzyme complex can inhibit the activity of this enzyme. What are the immediate product? Immediate product are acetyl CoA and NADH, and ultimate product is the ATP. These will all inhibit the enzyme by saying that body has no further requirement of energy. Now, when this enzyme is activated, it is by pyruvate dehydrogenase phosphatase. As body starts to function or exercise begins, this concentration of ADP and pyruvate will increase. Why? Due to muscle contraction, and muscle consumes more and more ATP, and glucose is converted into pyruvate to meet this energy demands. Now, ADP and pyruvate activates this dehydrogenase by inhibiting trinase enzyme, and phosphatase is also stimulated by calcium. If there is rise in cytoplasmic calcium, it will also elevate mitochondrial calcium level, and rise in mitochondrial calcium activates phosphatase, resulting in increased PDH activity. So, in nutshell, for phosphorylation, we should remember that when there is increased energy need, there is stimulation by this dehydrogenase phosphatase enzyme, and when no energy is required, this enzyme is inhibited by this pyruvate dehydrogenase trinase. Active PDH is converted to inactive PDH by trinase, and ATP is converted to ADP, and in other way, inactive PDH is converted to active PDH when phosphatase is stimulated. So, in this way, this PDH complex is regulated. Thank you.